Good evening, everybody. Good evening to SBC, SBCC, and everybody in between. Hope you had a great and wonderful and prosperous and satisfying Thanksgiving holiday. I'm glad to have you here on this first Tuesday, first day of the month of December, and the last month of this crazy year. So, hey, let's make the best of it. And welcome to our panelists. We have Leslie, Nick, Tia, Steve, and Shannon. So, we're here to talk about some stuff tonight, and well, let's just jump right to it, okay? The topic that we had advertised was you can look, but you cannot touch, okay? Yes. Say you meet someone, you know, say, stop grinning, Liz. Say you meet someone and y'all hit it off real good. I'm talking about this person is what you order. I mean, you ordered this person from Amazon, not Wish.com. Okay, you got this person from Amazon, perfect in everything, pleasing to the eyes. However, you're trying to remain celibate. So what do you do in that situation, though? Do you give in? Do you look but do not touch? Do you ask for a sample? Or or what? How do you handle that? How would you handle that situation like that, especially if you're seriously practicing celibacy? Go
Oh,
ahead, Leslie. Go ahead.
what? Oh, okay. The statement you said at the end. So this is a hypothetical, and you said for the person that is seriously practicing celibacy, that is for you. That is your commitment to your journey. Everyone has a different commitment along their journey, their spiritual journey. And that spiritual journey is whatever you have agreed upon in your prayer time and in your relationship with God. And so whoever comes into your life, regardless of how perfect they may appear, they still need to be someone that can walk with you on this spiritual journey and can understand the commitments that you've made. And it only confirms if this person is right for you if they can walk with you on this journey in the same commitment, the same understanding, same belief, same focus that you have with God. I mean, your life is a ministry, and you're looking for someone to coexist with you in that ministry, and so that commitment needs to be agreed upon in that relationship as well. So you can look, but you can't touch. If that's the commitment you've made on your spiritual journey.
Take a
Okay.
breather. Just breathe. Just breathe.
So,
Oh,
the key words that Leslie said is that's the commitment you made.
oh.
Thank you for
Okay.
reiterating that, Leslie. I appreciate that. Um, I think first off, when we say that we're abstinent or we're celibate, there's nothing wrong with that. Just like Leslie said, everybody has their own journey, but I think that whenever you're going into a relationship, you have to be upfront about that.
Mm,
And not only do you have to be upfront about that, you got to stick to it. Like, don't send mixed signals. And this is men and women alike,
mm,
because sometimes what will happen is we'll say, "Yeah, I'm not practicing anything sexual, or I'm leading this type of lifestyle," and then you have not just conversations about sex, because there's nothing wrong with that, but you take it a step further and it gets more intimate and more intimate and more detailed and more detailed. Well, how can you start off the relationship saying, "Well, I'm not doing this," but then
mm,
you're seeing mixed signals? So I think we have to be clear about the things that we want, and if if that's just not our journey, it's not our journey. But we have to be honest, not only with our partner, but we have to be honest with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we say things because they sound good. Don't say you know you don't mean it in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say, yeah, I'm practicing abstinence. Oh, yeah, I'm celibate because you feel like that's the Christian thing to do, but you don't mean that in your heart. And you know that that's a struggle of yours. Just don't even put it out there like that, because what it does is that it could potentially turn the person off that you are trying to build a relationship with, because they're going to think, oh, she's playing games, or oh, he's playing games, because you're saying one thing but you're showing something completely different. So I think when it comes to conversations about celibacy and abstinence and intimacy, then you just have to be, number one, be sure of who we are, what we want, what we're able to deal with, and then number two, relay that message effectively to our partner. That's it. Because if that is somebody else's journey, that's somebody
Else's journey.
else's. Mic off.
Steve, you're grinning over there. What you thinking?
Wow. To be honest, this is a tough one because,
Mm.
wow, I can see but I can't touch. Wow. Well, I I I love hugs and I love kisses. So, um, wow, the Lord would have to be with me on this one. Uh, I know I have experiences where I would have dated and tried to reach out for a kiss, but it was like, no, hold on, because you see, kisses lead to other things and hugs lead to other things. So we have to be the one who have self control. We have to control ourselves, because if we don't, the devil is gonna laugh, laugh at us big time. We have to follow God's word. We have to abstain from sex until we get married, and if we don't, we're going to sin is like Pringles. Once you pop, fun can't stop. So
Okay.
we got to keep it down. We got to keep it down until marriage, man. We got to do that.
Can
Okay.
I um,
Go ahead.
say something about what Steve? I agree with one thing he said, and I disagree with one thing that he said. I do not believe that kissing is the gateway drug to sex. I just don't believe that. I believe that. I believe that.
Really?
Yeah, I don't.
You really haven't gotten a good kiss.
I have, and I give them too. But my
Oh,
point is that
Okay.
it's not. It's not a gateway to sex. It's all about you knowing your limitations within yourself. Me kissing somebody doesn't mean that, oh, just because I kissed you and we had an amazing kiss, now I'm ready to sleep with you. No, that's not what that means. I think if that's something that someone struggles with, then probably you don't need to do that. That's not something that you need to do. But that's not everybody's situation. I don't think that that's a gateway. I think in order for it to get to the point where there's sex, that's because there was something that was already there. That was already a desire there. It was already something that you wanted. You know that that's a temptation of yours. So that's how I feel. I just don't believe that it's Pringles. I don't believe it's a gateway.
Most good kisses, Shannon. Most good kisses, Shannon, come with a touch.
Well, of course, I'm touching your face. I'm touching your arms. You're touching my face. You're touching my arms. But that doesn't mean that you're filling me up while you're kissing me. That's not. It doesn't have to happen like that. I don't know what kind of kisses that you give, but those are not the ones that typically I indulge in unless I want to. Mike, back off.
Nick.
Yeah, well, I agree with a little bit of what everybody said. It's a matter of personal perspective, not to be funny. It really is. We know what the Bible says about it, but you have people who, like we were talking about before, they'll say they're one thing, and then it's not so much of a matter. Excuse me, so much a matter of abstinence or celibacy. It's a matter of ability. You know what I mean? Like they'll say, "Oh, I'm not having sex because I'm abstinent. I'm not having sex because I'm celibate." But then, like you said, that right person comes in with those right echelons, those right check marks, and as soon as they get alone, the wheels on the bus coming off. They there. They down like four flats. So everybody's kind of different. Then you have some people like Shannon was talking about. You just have a simple kiss, and a kiss is a kiss. That's it. Then you have some people you kiss them, and they ready to do everything. Everybody is different, and it's very, very important, as everybody's talked about, that your echelons, that your little points. You know what you can deal with and what you can't. Because some people can't even be alone with other people. Everybody's different.
I understand that. Uh, Tia, do
I
you
just
think?
I
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
I
Uh-uh,
just was gonna say think communication is key, right? We got to be talking about it, what our expectations are, and then even continuous conversation. If you find yourself in a situation and you're like, you know what, we said we were gonna, and I think it has to be both of you deciding to do it as well. It can't be, okay, I'm gonna abstain, and you're gonna allow me to abstain, but really you be down for, you know, more if I was down for more. I think that when you do that, um, like every person is human. We're all sexual beings, and you're gonna have a weak moment. And if your partner is not still connected to that same cause, then your weak moment is gonna be the complete downfall of this commitment that you've made. So I think that that's going to be a crucial part. And then also, when you have moments where you're like, you know what, I didn't anticipate this, but things are getting hot and heavy. We need to part ways and kind of revisit that and figure out what is acceptable. If it's being adjusted, but really, like, if you committed, solidly committed to that, what do you need to do in order to uphold that commitment? So I do agree with everything everybody was saying, as far as everyone has to know themselves, know what their limitations are, but then also each connection is different, and so what used to work with somebody else, you know, well, I was fine with the other person that I dated, but now I have extra chemistry with this other person, and I can't even do this, that, or the other with them. But you got to have conversations and know that and realize it and be proactive instead of just thinking you're going to hold off.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I shouldn't say this statement, well, this terminology, because it sounds kind of crude though. But when it comes to relationship, you shouldn't be a one-trick pony. You know, think that one size fits all. That doesn't work that way, and that comes to every aspect of dating and relationships. You know, just because this person, like, I don't know, French cuisine, that doesn't mean the other one would like it. You get what I'm saying? So you have to be careful. You have to be careful. Have to be mindful. You have to learn. I think that was Leslie. You said that you got to learn your partner, and I mean saying partner, not necessarily limited to sexuality. That's your partner, your dating partner, relationship partner. You have to learn each other. So, and here's a few comments. Reginald says, well, if you are truly serious about being, I think, celibate, then you really don't put yourself in situations that your values, I'm assuming he's saying, be compromised. Let me see. I know of someone who refused to even hold hands until marriage. Well, they did that, and on the marriage night, it was horrible. So all if what if one is comfortable dealing with. So they wouldn't hold hands. Original, could you give us more information on that? And especially the marriage night.
What?
Go ahead.
Y'all can't even hold
Yeah.
hands? Come on, man. I think people do entirely too
Some
much.
people are like that.
Some people are
So
like
You
that.
can't even
Right?
hold somebody's hand.
I think those
some
people are
people,
very interesting, but more power to
I
them.
think those people need to date in bubbles then.
Mhm.
I be in my bubble, you be in your bubble, and we can just talk through the bubble. Video chat. You can't even touch hands. Is that serious?
then that means someone has
Some
a serious weakness. Go ahead. Yeah, someone.
I don't even
Let
think
me
it's a
see.
weakness. Some people when they come to the Bible, oh, he said, if you're weak, then don't you have to know your own strength or weakness. Well, I think that's a personal individual problem. If you're that weak in your level of self control, if your self control is that broken, you don't
Mm,
need to date because that's some personal things you need to work through for your individual self to build yourself up. Because where is your faith? Where is your understanding in building yourself up and being the type of individual that you need to be that can encounter temptation and not feel like I can't even walk in the room. This is not like, people say, well, AA, you think about somebody who's AA and they just quit drinking. Yeah, it may be for, that they're not supposed to be around alcohol. They may say, you know what? I'm just started. I don't even need to be in a bar. I can't have alcohol in my house. I don't need to be in a bar. I don't need to be anywhere where alcohol is even at, or it's even in the vicinity. And as you build yourself up in that walk to abstain and to quit that sin that so easily beset you, that over time you should be able to hopefully be in a room with other people that are possibly drinking, or be in a room where alcohol is even on the shelf. I mean, that's someone who has may I can't assume what they have dealt with to get to that point, but they have some self control issues that are putting people in this legalistic relationship, and that's not enjoyable for anybody.
I understand that, and especially, like I said, some people are so holy that they become so engulfed in legalism that they cannot enjoy. Not only does the relationship, they cannot enjoy life.
That's it.
You
You're so
know,
holy, you're no earthly good.
Right.
and it goes back to our live stream from 2 weeks ago. Why can't you talk about sex? Are you that holy? Are you afraid that if we talk about sex, you'll get pregnant? You'll catch a disease or something? You're going to split hell wide open? No, yeah. And nothing wrong with being holy. Please, let's practice holiness. But don't be a Pharisees, please, or a Sadducees, please. Live life. I'm not saying, you know, think that grace is a free ticket to sin either now, but just live life.
Hmm.
That's all, and be mindful of what you do. Okay, we'll say that for next Sunday. Okay, what we got here? First step is always being honest with self first, and being accountable for our actions before we can expect someone else to respect our boundaries. Hmm. And right here, and what else? And I think Elena says, I believe it depends on the person. You are kissing. Sometimes people might expect more after a kiss. It all varies on an individual basis. Hmm. Okay. And again, knowing boundaries. If kissing is a weakness, then just keep it at a simple peck on the cheek. Now, let's just kind of stop right there. Now, that's still kind of isn't that still breaking the look, but don't touch guideline right there with that break there?
What it? No, I mean, I think like Tia was saying. I mean, and I think somebody else said you have to communicate those boundaries and your limitations. I mean, if you want to, if your process of working through um gaining this trust in this person and also building up to this physical touch with that person starts at a peck on the cheek, even a peck on the lips. I mean, we're not talking about folks making out in the backseat of their car. I mean, kissing is so many degrees of kissing. I mean, y'all remember high school, first base, second base, third base, all these different ways we put these criteria and degrees of whatever things that happen in that relationship with somebody physically. I mean, people know what they're able to do and what will take them to the next level, and you set up those boundaries. And if it's just if anything more than a peck on the cheek takes you to the upper room in your sexuality, then you communicate that.
Yep. Yeah.
And lay it out there, and then they know what they can't do with you. Then they will respect that.
Right.
And if they don't,
they don't respect you.
They don't respect you, and you gotta move. That's another way. That's how you move it along. But don't use these rules of tests. So many women use these as tests to test men, and these men can't pass tests. You ain't giving them notes. They need the notes to the test.
Just failing.
Or you test them. Mm-hmm. Okay, if you have some rules or guidelines of how you do relationships, communicate that. And if he doesn't abide by that, he failed the test. But don't just not tell anybody this stuff. And then, he failed the test. He didn't know the questions. He didn't know.
He didn't know there was a test. He
never covered the material. You never covered the material.
He didn't go to the class. Did not know it was test day. So women, communicate. Tell your story. Tell what needs to be told.
Didn't give us a study guide or anything.
Thank you.
Got no cliff notes, nothing.
So you failed the test. What test?
Yeah, what test? Yeah. And if not, now she mad at you. You don't even know what you did. You're like, what did I do?
Exactly.
I just walked in the door. She's like, he didn't walk in the door. Rose was like,
yeah.
I know what I did wrong.
I get you. Let me see. But
you see, life is different.
Okay.
Life is different from school. Life gives you a test to teach you a lesson. School teach you a lesson, then gives you a test. So in life, we gotta take our tests very seriously because our lessons are gonna be tough.
Yeah, but life tests and people just giving you a test. Out random, totally different thing. Yeah, that's something else.
That's different. I mean, if you have two people in a relationship and then you're communicating, you're expecting someone to do things that you haven't communicated your wants.
Right.
I mean, that's madness. Yeah. Life gives you tests because one thing that God does, He tests our faith.
Right.
As we build up in our along this spiritual journey, and we pray for stuff, and then God tests us, and we look like, where does this come from? God said, didn't you ask for patience?
Right. Yep.
He's gonna test you on that patience. See, we don't think that these tests are not coming by that on their own. They're coming by our own petitions to God to help build us up spiritually along this journey, to build up our faith, our patience, our perseverance, our long suffering, all that. He said, God, I want to be all about you. I want to be more about on this journey. I want to be a committed believer. And part of that is all them things I just listed. And so when them tests come, it's not by happens. It's not just like all of a sudden you asked for it. You always ask for it. So don't think it's by surprise that God, it's just gonna come just woo-wee. No, you asked for it. And God's gonna do exactly what you asked for. Now these men, these are not godly creatures all the time. We are not godly creatures all the time. So we have to communicate, you know, communicate verbally, out loud,
clearly.
clearly
Yeah,
to
please, Lord.
people. And then when you deal with these issues, you know, hold up now. I told you, and now you keep pushing. You're not doing right. You fail in the test. You fail
Right.
because I've already communicated it. So
Exactly.
it's a difference now. We can't relate this with
Right.
man and God. No, they don't work on the same plane.
No.
And that's a little bit of manipulation too. I don't like when people do that.
Yes.
When you're going to test somebody just to try to manipulate the situation to see what they like. Don't do that. That's not even cool at all.
That's game playing.
Exactly. But you want somebody to take you serious.
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't work like that at all. We're too grown.
There was a question in the group about.
Supposed to be grown.
Supposed to be.
There was a question in the group about taking your relationship in stages. I think some people need to get time frames. You know, like let's go 3 to 6 months without kissing, and then after 6 months, maybe a peck on the cheek, because some of us we have no control, and
You said
for
3 to 6 months without kissing. Is that what you just said?
That's interesting.
no.
We're assuming that COVID does not exist, right?
Right.
You said 3 to 6 months without even kissing.
Yeah, probation period.
Why? Why would you do that to yourself?
Some of us need probation periods because we don't have self control.
Yeah, but that ain't gonna
And,
teach you
and,
self control.
and
But look, that's not my
Right.
issue.
That's right.
It's
Yeah.
like, why you gonna burden me with your issue?
right.
It's
Right.
Facts.
Right.
everybody
Yeah.
gonna start fasting. And you know, when you start your time of fasting, you fast based on what God has put on your heart to fast.
On
Right.
your heart.
If you fast on something, don't mean I need to fast on it.
Right.
And because that you fast on, don't mean I need to fast on it. My temptation ain't your temptation. So you need to walk your walk, and I'm gonna walk my walk.
Exactly.
So you know, because if your issue is self control, you need to work on that with God. That's what you need to fast and pray on with yourself.
And then, like you said, you probably don't need to be dating. Because if you can't kiss,
Not yet anyway.
you can't sit in the same room, you can't do none of that stuff, you know.
Not a
Them
woman.
months ain't gonna help you.
We can't even hold hands. No.
Not a woman that's committed to celibacy. That's not the one for you, boo.
No.
Right.
No.
And as a matter of fact, I'm not even trying to be funny. You really need to do like Jesus did and go take yourself off somewhere and get recommitted and get yourself together and then come back to the world and then you can go date all you want to and all stuff and you'll be better off. But don't just go jump in some relationship with all these issues that you got in your flesh and then you trying to handle them with that person as your temptation. It's like walking through the garden with a snake everywhere, talking about, yeah, I'm good. This snake my homeboy. No. You playing.
No.
No. You know what I'm saying? Don't play with it. You know what I'm saying? Just go off somewhere, get yourself together so you can properly date, you can properly control yourself, and then come back and slowly enter yourself back into the dating world. But don't hop in there talking about, well, girl, I don't want to kiss you for 3 months. You know, we should just try this out so we can learn how to control ourselves. And she's looking at me like, boy, what? You know. Don't do that to her. Don't do it to yourself.
Yeah, and self-control blesses you in so many other aspects of your life. So you have to look at that whole spiritual journey to do that. And realize that even when you're married, things happen within a marriage that if you don't have self-control before the marriage, you're not gonna have it after the marriage. So really don't think stuff comes to fruition when you start doing it. So
they could just show up out of nowhere.
What if your wife had a baby and she can't have sex? I mean, she probably could have some times during the pregnancy she couldn't have it, and definitely after she probably couldn't have it for some time. Where's your self-control? You know, people get sick. Things happen in life, and everything don't always come like you want it. So you have to have self-control. This is a aspect of your spirituality that you have to develop. It's a must to be
So,
spiritually mature.
exactly. I was just about to say that it's a maturity thing.
Mhm.
You know,
Matter of fact, not even to be funny, Christians without self control, not in moments, not in pieces, but like total self control,
Mhm.
it's basically an oxymoron because he's
Exactly.
not obedient.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I get it when people, like you said, you have certain triggers where you can't do this, you can't do that. I understand that kind of stuff. But you get these people who you can't hardly do nothing. Like, yeah, no, you got something else going on.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, Reginald answered the question about the married couple. It's pretty interesting. Here it goes. Well, the marriage night, the groom wanted his bride to
Oh,
do
Lord.
some things sexually, and she wasn't having it because of whatever she was dealing with. Needless to say, the marriage was not consummated. In less than 6 months later, they were divorced.
Well, first of all, her not doing some things that he wanted her to do, she wasn't having it. Uh, Back again to the same thing that Leslie just said, the same thing that we've been talking about for weeks. There are just some conversations that you have to have prior to going into the marriage. You don't wait until you get into something to start having those hard conversations. We're going to
Right.
talk about this before we get there, because guess what? In having that conversation, that's when you find out, am I really compatible with this person? Is this something that I can actually put up with? And then we can prevent things like that happening. You should have known what she was willing to do and not do prior to your marriage night. But the problem is that we get so jaded about talking about sex, period, especially as Christians, because we think of it as some nasty, dirty, wrong thing when you should be talking about it anyway. Because if it was so bad, if it was so wrong, then God would not have created it. He would not even, it would not be in the Bible all throughout the Bible. God would have not had told us to be fruitful and multiply. He wouldn't have any of these things. We would not have any, and our bodies would not be designed to do the things that they do if it was not meant to be enjoyed. But you have to talk to that person prior to getting into marriage. We're having those type of conversations before we even get engaged, because I don't even want it to get that far. Period, point blank. We are all adults. And if that is something that you struggle with, just like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, go get some help. There's therapy for that. But you have to know who you are. You have to communicate who you are, and you got to have these conversations prior to. You cannot wait till you get into something to have hard conversations. It's too late.
Too late.
It's too late at that point. You're already in it. We're trying to prevent things from happening, right?
Right.
Right.
For example, you don't go and I hate to be graphic, but if someone is trying to practice safe sex, you don't go into having sex without being protected and say, "Oh wait, let me come back out. I got to put on a condom." Where they do that at? Where? Same difference. You don't get into the marriage and then say, "Oh wait, we need to figure out about this sex thing. What I like, what do you like?" Huh? We need to stop being so scary and start opening our mouths and talking about the things that we want, the things that we don't want, things that we're willing to do, what we're not willing to do, things that we like, what we don't like, what we're open to, what we're not open to. Have those, and there shouldn't even be hard conversations, especially if this is somebody that you can see yourself being with for a lifetime.
Exactly.
Doesn't make any sense to me, but
I think that's where self control comes into play. So yeah.
Well, you see,
Absolutely.
a lot of people think that marriage changes people. So once we get married, you're gonna change. Like the things you used to do, you're not gonna
guys,
do them anymore. I'm
Mm-mm.
serious. I'm serious.
I ain't never seen that kind of
yep.
marriage. What's the word? I do. I you say I do, and Well, y'all remember that comedian
Exactly.
and Sinbad said, "I do. Some things gonna change." Like, no.
Uh-uh.
That's why we're dealing with so much divorce in the church because people
Yep.
are not talking. You putting on this facade and putting on, going in there with this mask on. We talking about before the COVID mask. You got this
Yeah.
mask that you miss. Ooh, we Danya, holy, highly sanctified, filled with the Holy Spirit, and this and that. And then you get to that wedding night, and you like, hold up now, who am I supposed to be today? Who am I supposed to be
Exactly.
tonight?
Exactly.
And you gotta present your realness before that. You say the ring, before the even discussion of, yes, I will marry you. No, he need to know who he or she need to know who they're dealing with way before that, because there's some people out there with some fetishes and some ways that you need to know if you're willing to deal with. Till death do us part.
Till death
And
do us
also,
part.
and also, you're saying that things change with marriage. I mean, if marriage was the panacea to all our issues and problems and situations, if it was the cure for everything,
There will be no
then
divorce.
there would be no divorces.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
something wrong right there.
Yeah. And I think you get a lot of people who and I'm not trying to be funny. And a lot of these groups, period, you get a lot of people who think that marriage is the answer as opposed to Jesus.
Mm.
Mm,
They
Mm.
start
mm,
believing that once I get,
mm.
you see all these posts, a lot of people say, when I'm gonna get married, I'm single, poor me. Well, like their life is miserable because and I get it that there's a certain aspect of your life that you feel is lacking because you don't have a spouse. But in reality, the Lord is looking at you like you're fine. Yes, you can technically be a little better with a spouse, but then some of us, like we were just talking about the people, you go into these marriages, you haven't done it right, you haven't really talked to that person, you rushed into it, you muddle footed into it, and then you end up these people you're not supposed to be with. And now
Mm.
you're sitting here on your marital night wondering who is this person sitting next to me?
Mm.
Because they totally different. So you have to you have to talk. You have to have honest conversations. But the problem with the sex conversation with a lot of people is jokers don't know how to control themselves. So you sit there and you start talking about sex, and I'm speaking as a man start talking sex with a woman, then he just lose all his focus, and that's all he want to talk about now is sex. And
That
she
is
looking at him like it's other aspects. We can talk about other stuff. But he like, yeah, but and every time she have a conversation, he bring up sex. So then you get people who get afraid to talk about sex, period. And it shouldn't be like that. That's why you should properly vet the people that you're dealing with in relationships and get to that point where you guys can have honest, candid conversations, controlled conversations, not out of control. I want to hang off the ceiling and all, getting all crazy conversations about your sex life, about what you'd like to do, where you're not going to an abstract where we can't hold hands, we can't be in the same room, don't be kissing me on my cheek, that kind of stuff. And then the night comes and he go, girl, I want you to hang from the chandelier. She looking at him like, what? It has to be a medium in there. And you can do that in a very godly way. But it takes self-control.
But Nick, you cracked me up because when you said for what, and some people are like, which one?
Right.
because you got to think. I think about it from his perspective. He had all this pent up. He had all this pent up aggression from not touching her all that time, and then the night came, and he like, yeah, girl, y'all, not to be. Excuse me, y'all. I want you to bend over and do this and do that, And she like, huh? Because they haven't really had that conversation.
They-
They've been so
Absolutely.
restrained, right?
Nick preaching tonight.
And she
Yeah,
just like,
that's it.
y'all can whatever.
That's the collection plate.
Whatever.
Jeez.
But like I said, I think people just get too carried away with the count. They just start talking about sex ad nauseum. And I know I'm not trying to be funny. When I get a relationship with a woman, I play it straight. I don't like talking about sex. I don't even bring it up. If she bring it up, we can talk about it a little bit, but I don't bring it back up because it's so many thirsty brothers out there that I never want to be one of them brothers. I just don't. You know what I'm saying? They go, oh, it was sex. You talking about the booty? Oh, what? They get excited. It's like, dog. You act like you ain't never had nothing before. Not a kiss, not a touch, nothing. So I feel like my respect for the woman I'm with is me just talking to her, period, about whatever. And if it's sex, we can talk about that and be respectful and be cool and move on. It ain't got to be this, oh, I can't wait to get you so and so and so. Because then what you do is, like we talked about before, you know, you're not really presenting yourself in the right manner. You saying, yeah, I'm a Christian and I'm abstinent and I'm practicing celibacy or whatever. And, you know, I wait till I get married, blah, blah, blah. But then once you start talking about sex, it's like, yeah, we're going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. They looking like, what happened to this guy we're talking to a minute ago talking about abstinence? What happened to that? So you have to be very careful when you're in your control of the conversation, your control of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up now.
Nick, what's your Cash App?
Whatever.
I took out my wallet.
That was silly.
Oh, where my change at?
You know what? Listen what Sonolia says. Most times they talk about God when the sun is up. Then they want to have phone sex when the sun goes down.
All right, so now I get her love offering.
Long time member, Sonolia.
Yes. That's true. People, yeah.
Freaks come out.
Freaks come out at night.
Wait a minute, hold on. I saw a good one. Let me see. Hold up. Oh yes, the gospel source from she's commenting from YouTube. Marriage is not the answer to everything. Just like making a child in a bad marriage to quote save it may not make it better.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. Being married to the wrong person is horrible. It's horrible, especially as a Christian. If you took your vows seriously, you thought, when you said till death do us part, you thought it was till death do us part, and then you are stuck, unhappy, turning bitter. That is not a good look. That does not honor God. And so just jumping into marriage for marriage's sake is you're shooting yourself in the foot. It really is not a good look, because it sets your witness up for wrong. It sets your happiness, your joyful heart for wrong. So absolutely, you need to choose wisely. Choose your partner wisely, because having the wrong partner, you'll be divorced and unhappy.
Yep. I can say amen to that.
Andrea Jenkins says, marriage is not a magic potion where you say I do makes everything perfect. The best relationships are rooted in communication.
Amen.
And like Alyssa said, communication is the key.
That's it.
And Reginald says, no, this is the one I wanted. Reginald says, I've got to know where she stands. And if we are not on the same page, then everything shuts down. I won't be in a relationship where I'm not happy, because I'm not going to cheat. I'd rather be alone than to cheat.
All right. Self-control.
Yep.
That's self-control right there. And if the woman brings it up a lot, then one could think, she is real thirsty.
Or horny.
Yeah. Some folks have different temperatures.
Right.
Y'all
didn't get it. Let me back up. Everybody got it. Everybody got an internal thermostat. And sometimes, get a little high.
Yep, someone run hot, someone run look cool.
Exactly. So
Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Boy, you gone too far. It don't matter. It don't matter where you from.
Uh,
Oh, boy, y'all off the
Mama
chain
girl,
this night.
so
Okay, here you go. Sonolia says, people need to be real from the jump. It's difficult to pick the right person when they're not being real. You be like, who is this person I married? You know,
Mhm.
that's
Mhm.
terrible. That is,
That's sad. That's scary.
I know.
And
So
I was gonna say
go
it's
ahead.
weird because I've seen these people where that's what they do. You are with this person and they presented this facade to you, and you start believing the facade, and they talking about getting married, and and I'm not trying to be funny. We've all kind of seen it in one way or another. People saying, "Well, God sent this person for me." Then they get married, or they're about to get married, and then the shoe drop on the other shoe drop, and then they realize it's a whole different person they were dealing with, and they just have no idea because they haven't really paid attention to that person, had conversations with that person, and not and to be honest, had conversations with God realistically about that person. Because that
Mm,
you you
yep.
you know I'm old school. I believe prayer fixes everything. Even when Moses was at the Red Sea, he prayed first. And God said, "Okay, you got what you need in your hand." But you got to pray. You got to be honest with God, and you got to be listening so God can be honest with you, because He can tell you stuff about your person you with that's talking about all this crazy stuff after you get married, and you're not paying attention to that because you're so busy love struck. You know, you're just not paying attention to all them signs that God is showing you. That God is telling you, "No, this ain't the one."
And
I
see,
I
want to
think
sow a seed into your ministry, sir.
I know,
uh,
right? Because when you said that, the first thing I thought about is so often people get scared to pray about stuff they want to hold.
Yes. They don't want the answer.
They don't want
you don't want the
exactly.
answer. Yep.
Exactly. I ain't gonna.
Yep.
I'm trusting my gut. God know me. He not gonna
Trust in
bring
my
that
gut.
into my
Yeah,
life
okay.
that I don't need. He know me. I'm not even gonna pray about it. I trust my gut. I'm trusting the. You pray to
People
God.
talk,
And
yeah. Hey, people talking about trusting their gut. Doctor telling them to lose weight.
wow.
Trust your
And you
gut.
know what?
Hmm.
Pray too, Leslie.
Yeah.
And truth be told, we see the signs. We
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
Oh
choose to
yes.
ignore them.
Oh yes.
Mhm.
We
As
choose to ignore them.
Oh,
yeah.
we think we
Um,
can change them.
sometimes,
We a superwoman. We gonna change them.
yeah.
Lord have
Or,
mercy.
we just want to act like they don't exist. We see something like God gives us peripheral for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
He wants us, yeah, I need you to look ahead, but I need you to see what's on the side of you too.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
see those things, but we're just like, nah, I'm just gonna look right here. I'm gonna act like this doesn't even exist.
Mm-hmm.
And then we want to act like we're
Who is
shocked when things happen.
that? Right.
Oh,
Mm.
I didn't know this was happening. Oh my God. Like, I didn't know he was gonna do, I
Yeah.
didn't know she was gonna do. You saw the signs,
Yep.
but you chose to ignore them.
Mm-hmm.
You chose to focus on the thing that you like as opposed to focusing on the things that you know you see.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
No, I'm not gonna focus on that. I'm gonna focus on this right here because I like this part.
Right.
And if I just stay focused on this, then I know we can last. How many times I'm gonna say the devil is a lie?
Hmm.
A whole lie.
Yep.
Pay attention. You see the signs.
Mm-hmm.
God gives us those signs for a reason. And then we're
Yeah.
gonna go pray, ask God. God's like, what you want me to say? I already showed you.
Right. I ain't told you.
What you want me to do? Lift them up in the air in front of you and say, no, my daughter. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And
Sometimes
then
we just
go
want
ahead.
what we want and we just try to find ways to get that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even after God shows us, no, this ain't what you want, baby.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes we'll ask for stuff that we know we ain't got no goddamn business asking for. But God gets so sick of us, he's like, all right, go on, take it. You can have it.
Guess what?
Wait.
You can have it.
You see, we take the best package because many of us we look at the outward appearance. So
Facts.
we take the best package and we're like, whatever is in this package belongs to me. I'm gonna take this package because guess what? Everybody's gonna see me with this package. Um,
Mm.
I think this package is going to do me well, so I'm running with it. And then at the end of the day, we open. The other day, my dad cracked an egg, and it was rotten. It was like, oh, my son was like, "Grandpa, what's that? That's awful." You know, everything in it was black. It was rotten, and it was a big egg. So I'm just saying, many of us we take the big eggs and we run with it, but when we crack that egg up, rotten on the inside, no good for us because we're looking at the outside. We don't take time to check what's on the inside. And then we refuse to say, God, let your will be done. You see, that's one thing in our prayers that we need to say, Father, let your will be done. You know what? If it's not for me, it's not for me. But we force things because, hey, you know what? Shannon is beautiful. She's awesome. Yeah, and I'm like, God, I'm gonna have Shannon whether you like it or not. And
Mm.
at the end of the day, maybe Shannon is abusing, and I go into marriage and here am I every day. I have to wear my sunglasses because my eyes are you know
Right.
we got to look to God. We got to pray, as Nick says. We got to
Yeah.
pray. We got to ask God, listen, guide our footsteps
Yes.
every day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even if you don't do it in the early morning, God reminds us every day, hey, you haven't spoken to me for the day. What's up?
Right.
We take that time out and we say, God, forgive me. You know what? I present everything before you. And we talk to him. Communication is always key for everything.
Man, these
Hey.
guys are preaching tonight. Yeah.
Yeah, now, it's something I want to read right quick. Andrea says there's a difference in talking about sex for the purpose of learning each other versus talking about sex in a way that's lustful. Now,
Mhm.
and check this out from the gospel source. She says that's true. Some people can talk about sexual topics and it not bother them. Meanwhile, the person they are talking to is about to pop. So, you know,
Well,
is
that's
there
about
a
triggers again. Yeah, that goes back to people's triggers. You
Yep.
know, like I said, but you won't know that unless people start like we've said. It all goes back around to a circle. It all goes back to communication. Because if you don't tell me your trigger is talking about these sexual topics, then I won't know. And
Right.
you over there, like you said, about the pop, and I'm just having a simple conversation. I'm not thinking about doing nothing to you or with you. We just talking,
Mhm.
and you tripping. You got to go in the room and get you a nice cold rag. I don't. You got to be better than that. I'm just saying. You know, you have to communicate.
Yeah, you mean a
But
cold
just like Leslie said, I was gonna repeat what Leslie said earlier though. If you can't even have a conversation when you're about to pop, don't put your issue on me. That's your issue.
Right. Yeah.
That doesn't mean that I'm not gonna talk about it. That just means that I'm not gonna talk about it with
With
you.
you. Yeah.
I'm gonna help you out. I'm gonna bring a bottle of water. I'm gonna
Self
bring
on
an
that.
ice cool. I'm gonna bring an ice cool
That
bottle of
helps some of
water
that
to
don't
this.
help some of them out. Some got it bad. Mhm.
Some just need to go into prayer,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
And stay there. And stay there.
and just and work on
Shut
yourself.
in.
If you truly care about this person, or you want to be with this person, don't let your fleshly issues get in the way of what got your blessing.
Come
Okay,
on now.
don't let your flesh get in the way of your blessing.
Don't do
So
it.
you have to go back and get in your prayer closet and say, Lord, I love this woman. This is the man saying it. Lord, I love this woman. I think she's the one I want to make my wife. But I need you to help me get myself under control, keep myself together
Right.
for the sake of her, for the sake of our union, and for the sake of giving you all the honor and the praise and bringing us together.
That's right.
You got
Right.
to do that.
You
And
gotta
we
do that.
all have to do that
Yeah.
for the
That's
sake
right.
of not tainting something that's holy and righteous and a blessing to us. We got to do that.
Lord, I believe, but help my unbelief.
Amen.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
girl. Yes. We're like an offering tonight.
Yeah, and you got to do it with an intentional spirit too.
Yes, intentional.
Intentional spirit. I mean, really, you can't go in there talking about, well, I want to be good for her. No, you need to be good for you, for both of y'all. You know what I'm saying? Because she, that's a feeling. Good for her, But for you, that's your whole life. You blessing yourself.
It's your relationship.
Nick,
Yeah.
Nick, read this. Read
Oh,
this.
I'm not reading that.
Right.
Y'all killing me.
Now, check this
We
out.
don't have some people in his inbox tonight.
Every time when dating, I pray God reveal their true intentions. God does every time. Be prepared to act on the prayer. That is a good place.
Yeah.
That is a good place to stop because the clock on the wall, we just out of time, y'all. The time flies when you're having fun. So
This was a good one tonight.
Show is as good as its panelists, and y'all some great panelists. So
yeah, y'all is all right, boy.
Nick inbox about to be off the chain.
Oh yes, I see it.
Let me go close it right now. Jesus, be a fence, Lord. Keep me protected. Yeah, boy.
Making the connection theme right now.
Oh Lord.
Let me make the announcement right quick though. As we know, after the show we have after party, the Zoom after party. Okay, we're gonna have sausage and sauerkraut and some hot tea.
Only the best.
Hey, what that sound like?
Jeez.
Yeah.
And then after that, and come this Saturday, Shannon don't look like that. Come this Saturday, we have Making the Connection. It returns for this Saturday. We have it's a treat, okay? I think it's gonna be good, okay?
Yep.
Okay, and I think she's gonna contact you. She's been contacting people all week. So I think that's about any other announcements. Any other announcements? No.
For anyone who wants to be a part of Making the Connection.
Okay, if anyone want to be part of Making a Connection, be a contestant or a chooser, there goes Shannon's Gmail right there. Please, govern yourself accordingly and be prepared to answer the questions, okay? And speaking of questions, our last question, which is the quick question, and I'm afraid to ask this though, but I had planned on this before we had this conversation though. It's just a coincidence. Here it go. Headboard or no headboard? Go ahead.
Headboard.
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 Yes.
Headboard.
Please, headboard. Please have a headboard.
I think it's unanimous. I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Headboard. Well, correct answer is
I've already got one. Headboard.
Headboard. Okay. But that's it though. I think that's the first time we had unanimous. I don't know. But anyway, thank you all for watching. Thank you. We appreciate you. Thank you. Lord willing, we'll see you here next week. And by the way, we had several topics to talk about. We just never got past this one tonight. So that's how it goes. But thank y'all. And hey, we glad y'all was here and thank you. We see y'all next week. Bye-bye, y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
some time and think for a minute. What's going on? And are we with it? I got the phone call away, but if no one calls, it's another day. How can I explain to you what I feel and what is true? And how can I do my best